Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
We are into the very, very difficult area of ranking these 49ers players. I mean, there's 5 All-Pros, there's Trey Lance, not to mention Kyle Juszczyk, but here we are at number 4. And, I had him at 2, I had him at 3, I had him at 4. I'm not going to be upset if you have him higher. Deebo Samuel signed for the long term, which is great. We're going to get into that contract, but he comes in number 4 on our 2022 49ers roster countdown on highest impact this season. Deebo is unreal. I mean, all-pro year last year, and we've got him listed as WB wideback, which self-proclaimed. He put that out there himself and kind of re-emphasized that at the latest press conference, talking about how, man, he made that term up himself, and that's who he is. And he talked about it at the Pro Bowl. All the stuff about, not wanting to be used as a running back and all those things throw aside. It even got incentives built into the new deal, which we'll break down in detail. But again, the incentives, he gets paid extra the more he runs. He gets a $650,000 bonus if he has over 380 rush yards, which he didn't even accomplish last year in 2021, and an extra $150,000 if he gets over 3 rush touchdowns, which he accomplished easily. And those redo every year. So for the next 4 years, that's a considerable amount more money per year if he does run the ball. So the incentives are built in there. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. Now, he wears jersey number 19, 6 foot, 215 pounds. He's 26 years old. Last year of his rookie deal. Now he's got the extension. We got him for 4 more. The next team, if he lives out his contract and signs with another team, which I don't want to happen, but if he does, he'll be 30 years old at the start of that season. So it was important for him to do a shorter deal just because of his age. So we're going to be going over some highlights. We're going to be going over the future with Trey Lance. We're going to go over stat projections, my draft write-up, which I was wrong on Deebo. And I'm just telling you right now, I was incorrect on my draft write-up on Deebo. I think I got the play style right. My wide receiver rankings were off. I was just wrong. I was too low on him. So anyway, we'll get into that. But as we do, let's jump into some film and some highlights to accompany this entire countdown. Now, he grew up in South Carolina, Inman, South Carolina, which is, if you're familiar, north of Spartanburg, right by the North Carolina border. So kind of north central South Carolina, if that makes sense. Chapman High School, of all places, which is awesome. Huge family growing up, had 8 siblings, and got the nickname Deebo from his father because he was always taking things away from people as a toddler, and so they named him Deebo, like in the movie Friday, snatching chains, all that kind of stuff. It's a mentality thing, and you see in these clips, and if you've watched any of the 49ers, you understand he's out because he wants to bully people. That's just the way that he plays football. And, during the whole contract negotiations and not wanting to be used as running back and prolonging his career and all these different things, it was like, man, you can't stop gladiators on the field of battle. You can't do that with Deebo. He's not a run out of bounds guy. He's not a avoid contact guy, and he's not going to be. You cannot take that out of a player once it's there. It's almost impossible to get it into a player that doesn't have it, but it's even more harder to get it out of a player that's had it his entire life, and that's Deebo to a T. Very passionate about fashion, actually, which is interesting. He majored in retail management, and if you follow him on Twitter or Instagram, he talks a lot about clothes. Very, very important to him. Fashion's a big deal. Now, back to his high school days, he still holds the record for most touchdowns at his high school, 53 touchdowns. Favorite player growing up was Reggie Bush. A lot of players that age did have a lot of injury concerns. Hamstring injury was a repeat injury, missed majority of 2015 and 2017 in college. We saw the same thing in the NFL. We'll detail that a little bit more. In 2017, he didn't even play 3 full games, but still, even though he didn't play much, had 250 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, 30 rush yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. That was in less than 3 games. I mean, when he's healthy and on, he's the best player on the field. It's just he misses a lot of time, and a lot of it has to do with the way he plays. but it's the hamstring. It's, the stuff like that just continues to show up. Earned first team All SEC honors as an all-purpose player and return specialist. Was named second team All Conference receiver. If you look at his numbers in 2018, 62 receptions, 882 yards, 11 touchdowns. Was almost an immediate impact rookie, and a lot of these highlights are from his rookie year. Started off, his first game was against the Bengals, week 2, 2019, and it didn't take long. You saw what he was able to do right away. In fact, this clip that we're showing right now is from his rookie year. Dude just came out and dominated. Yards after the catch, broken tackles, wide back, self-proclaimed, right? Now, there are negatives outside of the injuries. Man, drops. Drops are a major concern for Deebo. Led the NFL, which is not something you want to lead the NFL in 2021. He had 12 drops, which was the most in the NFL. 2020 only had 3 drops, but only 33 receptions. So you're talking about 1 drop for every 10 catches. And then in 2019, his rookie year at 10 drops, 3rd worst in the NFL. That's one thing that, again, there's 2 ways to look at this. Drops have continued to be an issue for him in training camp, which is not good, but he can improve from an all-pro performance, one of the best, receiving all-purpose yard seasons of all time, what he was able to accomplish last year. So he can improve. We'll see what that looks like. He did break the NFL record last year for most rushing touchdowns by a wide receiver with 8. A lot of running backs don't even get that much. That's just how special this kid is. Now, his contract and all that stuff, we're going to dive into that a little bit in a minute, but again, here's things that are important to understand. Even amidst, trade requests and all this different stuff going on, showed up to mandatory minicamps without a deal, showed up to training camp early without a deal. He is a team first, leave it all on the field guy, not going to be any issues long term with, the stuff that happens in the offseason. It's business. It's just the way it goes. Fumbles, a little bit of an issue, 6 career fumbles. That's pretty high for a wide receiver, but again, he's a wide back. So numbers will be higher, but that's something that could be addressed as well. Last year led the entire NFL with 18.2 yards per catch. I mean, he gets the ball and he just goes. Carried the 49ers the second half of the season. No way in the world they make the playoffs without what he was able to do. And, the idea of trading him was being flirted with. The Jets reportedly offered the number 10 overall pick, but they wanted number 61 overall back. No way. There's no way you can make that deal. So, if you just look at where people went in the draft, it'd basically be Garrett Wilson went number 10 for Deebo and Drake Jackson. No thanks. I'm good. Excuse me. Now, what did he do last year? Because it's incredible. 1,770 total yards, and that's just the regular season. It's only happened once before by any 49ers receiver. That was Jerry Rice. That many total yards. Terrell Owens never did it once in his entire career. But his job shifted dramatically. He had 979 receiving yards after 8 games. So that's 122 yards per game. If he would have stayed on that pace, 2,080 receiving yards he would have had on the career. That would have been best all time. Cooper Kupp last year led the NFL with 1,947 receiving yards, second best all time. The NFL records Calvin Johnson back in 2012 when he had 1,964 yards. So he could do it receiving. There's no doubt about that. Like, he's that damn good. But it shifted because the running game was struggling, so they moved him over there. Now, let's jump back to his combine performance. Senior Bowl, all those things leading up to the draft. Ran a 4.48 40, 15 bench press reps, 7.033 cone, 39-inch vertical, shows the power he has in his legs. Now, here we go. This is fun. I want to pat myself on the back and make fun of myself at the same time. This was before he was drafted by the 49ers, okay? This is my draft write-up that I did in my draft book that I've been doing for, I think, 8 or 9 years now. Anyway, this is what I wrote on him. Yak stud, amazing Senior Bowl. Go back and watch the Clemson film. That's huge. Caught 4 of 15 deep balls, went into a little bit of his stats. Does his damage after he catches the ball. Lots of injury history. Broken leg, hamstring issues several times, ankle. Does get jammed at the on the line too often. Leaves his chest open too much. Then I had to go back and change it after the Senior Bowl. And you remember Senior Bowl was important for Deebo because the 49ers were coaching that year, right? You went from worst. You drafted second in the NFL all the way to the Super Bowl. The 49ers staff was the Senior Bowl coaching staff that year, which they got to see Deebo. And I wrote this in my notes. Senior Bowl was great for him as he improved his release. Drops are an issue. Kid is a fighter, goes all out in every play. Does not get a lot of separation on his routes. Most of his catches are contested. Very bad quarterback play. Jet sweep value in the NFL. So I feel like I nailed the scouting profile on like his traits of his game. I'll be honest with you. I had, this hurts. I don't want to say this, but let's be real. I had Jalen Hurd rated ahead of him, which is bad. But to be fair, the 49ers had N'Keal Harry ahead of Deebo Samuel, and they have said several times that was the plan. They were going to get N'Keal Harry, but the Patriots helped us out. So anyway, take that for what you will. I feel like I nailed his game. I just ranked him way too low, and I apologize for that. Now, he got drafted the 4th pick overall in the 2nd round, so number 36 overall. And yeah, first team All-Pro 2021, Pro Bowl 2021, and even his rookie year, he was great. 57 catches, 802 yards, another 159 rush yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. 2020 struggled, only 7 games, 5 starts, 33 catches, 391 yards, 1 touchdown, got injured. But last year was a season of the ages. I don't think it's ever going to be. I don't expect Deebo to ever put up these numbers again. It was too much. I hope he does. I just don't see it. 77 catches, 1,405 receiving yards, 18.2 yards per catch, 6 receiving touchdowns. I see that going up. 59 rushes, 365 rush yards, 8 touchdowns on the ground, 4 fumbles. And here's what's crazy. All-Pro over Jamar Chase, who had 1,823 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns. Over Justin Jefferson, 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns. Over Tyreek Hill, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. Like, it's pretty damn awesome what he's put up. Now, he's only started 31 games, played in 38 out of 3 years, so he's missed a lot of time. There's no doubt about that. But let's talk about his deal, because I think this is important. Signed a 3-year extension worth $71.5 million. So that gets added onto his last deal, which is basically a 4-year, $76 million deal. So you put all that in there, and the same agent had all the wide receivers, and he kind of threw each a little bone. For example, A.J. Brown, he got the most per year. DK Metcalf got most total guaranteed. Deebo got most fully guaranteed, right? There's differences there, I know. But it's interesting because they can all walk away happy. But Deebo's contract's a little bit different in a couple ways. It has 2 void years. And what that means is Deebo's going to be getting paid even when he's not on the 49ers, or if he gets a new contract to be rolled in. But these are the cap hits for Deebo. 2022, this year, $6.6 million. Went up like $1 million. That's it. Next year, 2023, $8.6 million. Cheap. The big hit comes in 2024. $28.5 million cap hit. Now, compare that to the others. DK Metcalf's biggest cap hit, 29.5, which is more than Deebo's. AJ Brown's biggest cap hit, 37.6. So even though they're all similar deals, the 49ers wanted to lower the ceiling, that peak point in the cap hit. And also, the 49ers built an out into his contract where they have the potential to walk away from this Deebo deal after the 2024 season. They can save $17 million cap savings. I don't think they will, but that's there just in case. 2025, he's got a $24.2 million cap hit. Then the 2 void years. 2026 is $6.6 million, and then 2027, $1.8 million. So that's how they were able to achieve kind of cutting the cap off of the cap, if you will, and what that looks like. Now, looking forward, and I think this is important because this is what it's about for Deebo. Trey Lance, my favorite play of the my favorite Trey Lance play and probably favorite Deebo play is this one right here against the Texans. And if we look at what he's able to do, a new added element that we are going to have with Deebo is the deep ball, which we've never really seen with Jimmy. There's been a couple deep passes for sure. I'm not trying to say Jimmy never threw it deep, but definitely not one of the best things of his game. But here you can see Trey rolling out, throwing it deep, Deebo making the catch, 50-plus yards downfield, getting the touchdown. This is a whole new added element to the game that we're going to get to see with Trey Lance at quarterback. So you get to uncork a little bit more of Deebo's potential, which I'm excited about. Now, my projections, these are my stat projections for Deebo in 2022. So here we go. I got him getting 84 receptions, so uptick on receptions, 128 targets, 1,336 yards, no slouch at all, 9 receiving touchdowns, so up from 6. I've got him getting 42 rush attempts, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns for a total of 1,546 yards and 11 touchdowns. That'd be a freaking unreal season to go back-to-back like that. He's going to miss time. He's always missed time. Even last year, he missed a game. He didn't even play all 17 games. So that's going to continue to be an issue just with the way he plays. And you're going to have those negative fans out there as soon as he does miss a game or gets up slow. Oh, you shouldn't have paid him that money. Those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. You don't make the playoffs. You don't win the wild card. You don't win the divisional round. You don't get a chance to win the NFC Championship without what Deebo has done. And for Trey Lance to reach his ceiling, you need this wide back there. Deebo is the number 4 player on our entire roster countdown series. I want to say thank you to Josh. I want to say thank you to Anthony, executive producers of this whole series. They have crushed it. Man, we got 3 more to go. I'm excited about it.